I spent years at Cambridge Medical School, became a doctor, and literally did research on sleep and addictive behaviours. This video is not going to be about the 5 new supplements or 7 new tips to improve your sleep. I know that you're still tired because none of this has worked for you. Sleep is very complicated, and some people have physical health issues that can mean that they have poor sleep. And if you think that's you, then get it checked out. But this is the most common reason that I've seen for most normal people that work a full-time job have poor sleep. And I'm going to give you the 3 no BS pieces of practical advice that you can use today to actually get better sleep tonight. Everybody always wants to focus on external things. Like when they get into bed, everyone says that their main complaint is that they just go on their phone, and that's why their sleep is poor. Now, I'm not gonna lie, phones do make something worse, but the reason why you feel like you have to go on your phone is because you don't like the thoughts in your head. And most of the reason why you can't sleep is because you have anxiety. And when I say that, I'm not diagnosing you with clinical anxiety. I'm saying that you have a feeling of being anxious, and I'm going to explain what that is. Everybody overcomplicates what anxiety actually is. In the most simple way, anxiety is the body and mind's response when it expects pain in the future. So let's say back in the day, on the way to the watering hole where you get your water for the tribe, you saw a lion one day, right? And let's say today, you have to go to the same watering hole and get some water for the camp. Now, because you've already seen a lion, your brain will expect at least some risk of pain when doing that action in the future. So your mind perceives a risk of pain in the future, and then that gives you anxiety in the present. Why? Anxiety gives you mind and body adaptations, right? In your body, you get all the sympathetic nervous system going, you get your hormones, your neurotransmitters that make you stronger, faster, and in your mind, it makes your mind start, have you ever started overthinking before? It's because of this. You overthink all of the possible scenarios that could be the case, and then with all of those simulated scenarios, you can change your behavior. And that can mean that in the present, if you change your behavior, then it means that you can try and reduce the pain in the future. So for example, instead of going one way to the watering hole the same way, your mind, after overthinking, can now think, you know what, let me go around, let me go a different way, and then you reduce the risk of pain. So this is what everyone gets wrong. Your anxiety is not a bug in the software. Your anxiety is part of the program to keep you safe. So in the present day, there is no lion, but there is the job that you don't like, someone you have to speak to that you don't like, that personal project that you know that you haven't done yet, and now you've got a mountain of work to do. And that feels like it's going to be painful, and so you get anxiety, and your brain doesn't want you to go to sleep because it wants to try and change your behavior to reduce that pain. And so if it's not an easy thing to fix, and this thing can't happen, especially when you're trying to sleep, you can't try and act to solve the problem yet. You have to go to sleep. And so what happens is you get into this loop. You get anxiety, which your mind is all over the shop, then you get poor sleep, and then you act poorly during the day. You have poor functioning, you have poor decision making, poor productivity, poor energy levels, poor emotional management. And then you don't get as much done, you don't do the right things, you make mistakes, and then you get more anxiety because you have to do or correct the things tomorrow or the next day or the next week. So these are the 3 no BS pieces of advice that you can actually do to break this cycle at 3 different points. All right, I just changed the order quickly because it will be better to explain it in this way. So let's say you had poor sleep, you're tired. What do? You had poor sleep last night. What do you do to reduce the chance of you having anxiety and getting poor sleep tonight? What you need to do, even though you might not be able to do everything because you have lower sleep and maybe less time, you need to make sure that you're not wasting the whole day on your phone, like watching TV, because you didn't have enough sleep. Because that is only going to make you have more anxiety about all of the stuff that you need to do tomorrow. So what do? You have to make sure that you do the important tasks. Choose the most important tasks, the tasks that will reduce your anxiety the most. Do those things, and then you can hopefully curb how badly you're functioning and you don't end up just wasting the whole day. And then you can reduce anxiety, and then you can actually get better sleep. And then the second thing is that after trying to do tasks, especially when you're tired, it gets to a point earlier where you can't concentrate, your brain gets foggy. But the worst thing you can do at that point is to try and relax in the way that the one world will tell you to relax, like go on your phone or watching TV, and then eventually you go to sleep at the same time that you do normally, and then you get poor sleep again. Now, the best thing you can do instead is actually to just go to sleep. If you are tired and you can't concentrate, the best way to recover is to just go to bed. You're probably sleep deprived anyway. So even if it's 6, 7 p.m, just go to bed. Do not stay on your phone staying up to like the regular time that you are, because you know what? You're probably sleep deprived. So even if you sleep the regular amount that you're going to sleep, if you had a choice, you're probably going to have poor functioning anyway tomorrow. And so you might as well get more sleep, and then you can actually get good sleep, get better functioning, and then actually do the things that you couldn't do today, and then reduce your anxiety, and then the whole thing works well. And now the third thing is, I am not telling you that all our anxiety is to do with work and to do with you not doing important tasks. Anxiety will happen to you whether you like it or not. Someone's gonna die, someone's gonna get ill, something bad is gonna happen, and you are going to have to find a way of reducing your anxiety when it gets to it, such that you can actually make your sleep not so bad. The best way to reduce your anxiety so you can get better sleep, even if bad things are happening, is not to suppress it or distract yourself. You have to process it. When you process your anxiety, what you're doing is clarifying what the pain is that you're perceiving to be in your future. And a lot of the time, it's an irrational fear, and you know, it might not be so bad. And at that point, you directly reduce your anxiety. But also when you process your emotions, you can realize that this is a real threat, right? This is a real threat. And so what you then process is, what behavior are you going to do in order to change it? What behavior are you going to do in order to protect yourself from the pain that you're going to be up against? And so when you process it, you also process the actions that are required in order to reduce the pain that's going to happen. And then when you plan that out, when you write out what are the actions that you are going to do tomorrow to reduce this sense of pain, then you actually feel better and you can let yourself go, because you know that when you start planning something, it feels like you're already starting to do it. And then you can start decreasing your anxiety. And then eventually this, you know, links to this, and then the cycle gets better. And so this is how you can break your cycle of poor sleep in 3 different ways, and they all work together. Do these 3 things consistently and you will never have a sleep problem again. But if you feel like you automatically go on your phone when the moment you get into bed, then watch this video about how to reduce your screen time permanently.